Welcome to the Manx Theatre podcast.
Come on to the theatre.
Hello, and welcome back to episode 64, and the first for 2025 of the Manx Theatre podcast with me, Neil Callan. Thank you to everyone who's listened to our previous episodes. If you're brand new to the podcast, welcome along, and thanks for joining us. In this podcast, we like to try and keep you up to date with what's going on in theatre on the Isle of Man, chatting to the cast and creatives of upcoming shows to find out a little bit more about the shows and the people behind them, and also what our Manx born and bred performers are doing further afield.
Coming up on this week's podcast.
I'm joined by Jordan McCormack, Evie Skillicorn and Natalie Smith from the Douglas Choral Union ahead of their production of Chicago, which opens at the Gaiety Theatre this weekend. You can still listen to all of our previous episodes through all the usual podcast outlets and at manxradio.com/podcasts. Whilst you're there, make sure to give us a like and click subscribe or follow or whatever it is you need to do to make sure you never miss an episode. Well, January has been a busy month and seen publications of the nominations for this year's NODA Awards, and just last weekend with the awards themselves. We've also seen the auditions and cast announcements for Parados Theatre Company's Macbeth in April and Two Feathers Productions' Little Shop of Horrors in July. And the DCU announced that their 2026 show will be Guys and Dolls. And also, there was The Young Singer of Man. The NODA nomination saw an impressive 36 nominations for Isle of Man societies across 15 categories, with 14 categories having nominations for all three societies. What a fantastic accomplishment. Centre Stage led the way with 15 nominations for School of Rock, plus an additional nomination for Kelly Firth for the School of Rock programme in the Peacock class. 12 nominations for Manx Ops for their production of Oliver, and 9 for the DCU's production of Evita. The awards themselves were held on Saturday the 1st of February in Blackpool, and the winners were as follows. Centre Stage had the most excess baggage for their trip back, winning 7 of their nominations, taking home the silverware for Best Musical, Best Director, David Dawson, Best Musical Director, Steve Dakin, assisted by Heather Dakin, Best Ensemble, Best Programme, Peacock Class, Kelly Firth, Best Comedy Performance, Alex Duncan as Ned Schneebly, and Best Female Youth Performance in an Adult Production with Crystal Stitt as Summer. And that's all for their production of School of Rock. Manx Operatic Society came home with 2 awards, which was the Best Male Youth Performance in an Adult Production, which was William Cowley as the Artful Dodger, the Best Staging of a Musical for Oliver, and the Douglas Choral Union came away with the award for Best Choreography of a Musical for Scott St Martin. Congratulations one and all, and commiserations to those who missed out. We've got some great shows coming up this year, so let's see if we can get as many nominations for those shows. A few weeks ago, Parados Theatre Company held their auditions for their April production of Macbeth. Now, I'm not in a theatre or directly quoting it, so I think I'm safe to call it by its proper name. The production will be directed by Tony Eccles, and the cast is as follows. Macbeth is Ian Dixon, Lady Macbeth is Gemma Varnum, the 3 witches are played by Mare Stevens, Saoirse Coyle Carroll and Lisa Davis, Banquo is Daniel Sebastian Gray, King Duncan is Alex Duncan, Malcolm Charlie Williams, Donald Bain Womo Holden, Macduff Daniel Carroll Crawley, and Lady Macduff will be played by Lisa Smith. The rest of the cast is rounded out with Darren Webb, Ewan McFarlane, Toby Smith, Chris Mabry, Bob Witcher, Sarah Mercer, Ben Davenport, Andrew Dayton, Andy Williams, Thomas McAleer, Bradley Chambers and Gonzo Galliard. Parados continue their grand tour of the island's performing spaces, and Macbeth runs this time at the Gaiety Theatre from the 3rd to the 5th of April. Two Feathers also recently held their auditions for their Jersey Boys follow-up, Little Shop of Horrors, coming this July. Another small cast of just 16 people looks like this. So Seymour Crailbun will be played by Jack Divers, Audrey by Meg Walker, Mr. Mushnick will be played by myself, Orrin, the dentist, Charlie Williams, Audrey 2, the plant, Ian Manton, Crystal, Renette and Chiffon will be played by Lauren Molyneux, Bryony Grant and Catherine Toohey. The rest of the cast is made up by Andrew Dayton again, he's going to be busy this year, Ellie Quayle, Eve Pazar, Grace Hudless, Joseph Long, Kendra Maddox, Sean Reaney and Zach Colgan. This is a great cast, and on a personal note, it's one I'm really looking forward to working with, because I'll be working with some friends returning from last year's Jersey Boys and others who are either brand new to me or I've never worked with before. This is going to be a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to this summer. On Saturday and Sunday, the 25th and 26th of January, the Young Singer of Man 2025 took place, with the junior class for ages 7 to 12 held on the Saturday and the senior class for 13 to 18-year-olds held on the Sunday. Rowena Jockin won the junior class singing The Jones Boys and Times Are Hard for Dreamers from Amelie. Brescia Kelsey won the senior class performing Fouray's Pieyezu and Gimme Gimme from Thoroughly Modern Millie. They each won a £150 cash prize as well as the Young Singer or Junior Singer of Man trophy. Congratulations to both. Across the water, Matt Overfield has recently announced that he'll be leaving the cast of Mrs. Doubtfire to join the cast of Disney's brand new West End production of Hercules, which opens at the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane, later this summer. That's it for news for now, but in the meantime, make sure you keep up to date with what's going on between episodes by following Manx Theatre Podcast on both Facebook and Instagram. This episode has been made possible by funding from the Isle of Man Arts Council, and I was able to visit DCU at Onken Methodist Hall prior to their rehearsals. If you want to find out more about Arts Council funding, check out their website at iomarts.com. This chat was recorded a couple of weeks ago before the NODA Awards presentation night in Blackpool, so at that point we didn't know whether Evie had been successful or not.
You're listening to the Manx Theatre Podcast.
I'm joined now on the podcast by Jordan McCormack, Evie Skillicorn and Natalie Smith.
Hi.
Welcome along to the podcast,
Hello.
ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we are here. Well, actually, no, before I start, it's welcome back to Jordan, because this is your second appearance.
It is, yeah.
And Natalie and Evie, this is your first time.
It is indeed.
So welcome along.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're here today to talk about Chicago, which is the Douglas Choral Union's next show, which is only a matter of a week's away.
Don't mind.
So we've got a couple of weeks of rehearsals left. Now, if memory serves me right, this show doesn't really get done on the Isle of Man very often. The last time I can think it was done was 2005, which I was in.
I don't think it's been
a while.
I don't remember it ever being.
Yeah.
And before that, it was mid-90s by the Manx Operatic Society. I think maybe because normally it's quite a small cast that tends not to get done by the bigger societies.
Yeah.
But that cast back in 2005 had Matt James as Billy Flynn, myself as Amos, Olivia O'Shea as Roxy, Susie Powers as Velma, and Sarah Holland, the assistant director, as Mama Morton.
Oh, Sarah Howard.
Pressure.
Yeah. So no pressure there.
Big shoes.
People who know Chicago probably know it best from the 2002 film with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Richard Gere and Renée Zellweger playing those three lead roles. But for people who don't know the show, obviously because it's not been around for 20 years, can you give us a bit of an idea of the story of the show?
Oh gosh, people looking at me. Yeah, I guess our version is obviously Chicago is based on real people, just kind of fantasized versions of real people. We're kind of stripping it back to really the 1920s, so it's not the classic, I don't know, like all black silhouette costumes that you see on the West End at the moment.
So the very famous sort of Bob Fosse kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still got that like Bob Fosse-esque to it in the dance moves and everything, but we're kind of stripping it back to its origins a little bit, which people I don't think have seen really before.
No.
I was a bit too young to see the last Chicago that came through, so
Yeah, I don't
know
quite
what it
recall
was
that
like.
one either. No, that was the year I was born when it was last done.
All right.
Can't say the same. I remember it.
Yeah, because your sister Sophie was in it, wasn't she?
She was,
Yeah.
yeah. She would have been about 16.
Probably, yeah.
Oh,
I think
wow.
about 16. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
she was one of the backing dancers.
She was indeed.
Yeah. So the story then.
Yeah, so it follows Roxy Hart, and she goes and commits a crime. For anyone that doesn't
Spoiler
know, I
Dun,
know.
dun, dun.
And then she kind of ends up in this all-women's prison, and she meets Velma, which I play, and basically they butt heads from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because they both want to be on top. And then throughout, we kind of follow Roxy's journey and sort of a bit of Velma's journey, really, as well. She meets Mama, she meets the murderesses. It's kind of all, the characters are intertwined throughout the story, and then you just follow her prison story, basically, right up until her
Through
court
to a court
date.
case, yeah.
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 Roxy's battle to be the next big star.
Yes. And with the help of legendary lawyer Billy Flynn,
Billy
Oh,
Flynn.
yes.
played by David Artis.
Mr. Artist.
Yes.
The amazing Mr. Arthur.
no stranger to the Gaiety stage.
No.
He's
He's not.
certainly not. Yeah. I mean, he's the old man of the cast, really, isn't he, this time round?
Oh, I don't know how I feel
No,
about
I
that.
don't know how I like that statement.
I don't really care, to be
I
honest.
don't know how old he is, to be fair. So.
It starts with a 5.
Okay.
So, Evie, then, you're playing Roxy Hart.
I am indeed.
So this is a big role for you, isn't it?
It is. This, I feel like, would say it's my first ever sort of lead.
You're proper full-on lead.
Yeah.
Because obviously last year in Evita, you were the mistress.
I was, yes. But obviously that's just kind of, it's a bit of a weird part, isn't it? She comes on, sings a song, and then just kind of leaves for the rest of the show. But
One and done.
yeah. But
And, obviously it was good because you came away with a NODA nomination for
I
Best Supporting
did,
Actress.
yeah. So I was very happy about that. I wasn't expecting that, but it was just an extra little exciting thing. But I love playing Roxy. I feel like she was a character that when I first started learning, I thought it would take me a while to try and... Because she's quite complicated, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of... She's nice, but then she's also really rude, and then she's happy, then she's sad, and then she's mad, and she's
She's a bit psycho.
a bit psycho, and she's a bit all over the place. But
It's a bit high maintenance.
she is indeed.
Very
That's a
high
good way
maintenance.
to describe her. But I do love playing her.
Yeah. And Natalie, you're
Yes.
Mama Morton,
I am indeed.
the keeper of the keys.
Yeah, that's her.
Countess of the Clink.
That's my cue.
Yes. So you're in charge then of the Cook County Jail.
I am in charge of all the lovely ladies in the Cook County Jail. Lucky me.
So is this your first sort of lead role as well?
This is my first role, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the first time speaking and singing all by myself on the Gaiety stage. So, yeah.
But you've been in a few shows before, though.
Yeah, first show was Hunchback a couple of years ago with DCU in the choir, the onstage choir, and then done a couple of ensemble roles since then. So, yeah, this is the first biggie.
Moving slowly
I
further to the
know,
front.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, you're proper at the front now.
Yeah. No hiding now.
Big solo number as well.
I know, yeah. It's
My
exciting.
favourite song.
We touched on there before with Jordan. They were saying that it's the I think it was 1975 was when it was first staged. It's a Candroneb musical. They're the same guys that wrote Cabaret, so it's got a good pedigree behind it. There's lots of really big famous songs in there. Bob Fosse directed the original production and has that very distinct style of movement.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that I'm not guessing anything because I saw a rehearsal a couple of weeks ago, and it was looking fantastic, especially, and even after a 3 weeks off at Christmas as well, it was looking great. But I could see that Brisha Krukol, who's the choreographer, she'd bring a lot of that sort of Bob Fosse-esque style into
She's
the
so
routine.
good.
The dancing's incredible.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's very
Really
good.
enjoy
She's
watching
done a
our
really good
dancers.
job, I think, of bringing that style in, but also putting like her own twist on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's made it really.
100%.
I think every single dancer in every dance is just incredible, and you can really see the style come through in each move and each dance. I just think she's so talented.
Honestly, she's so good. Like, this is the second time I work with Brie, but she just finds a way to push you, even if you're not a dancer or you've danced since you were 2. Like, you find something difficult and it kind of grows you individually anyway. But her moves are just really good anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair.
And
Fantastic.
there's lifts.
There is
There's a lot of lifts.
Oh God, yeah. I'm the queen of lifts over here.
You were getting thrown all over the place.
Oh,
Evie.
I was indeed, yes. I thought that there was going to be maybe a small lift up, but then I'm not going to give much away. But the whole of Roxy, I spend most time in the air.
Yeah.
Spend half the show on someone's shoulders. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
That you've got a big sort of background in music and playing, but have you got much of a dance background, or is this something that you sort of learned as you've gone along with the show?
Well, I have got quite a dance background. I started ballet and tap Christine Wilde's when I was about 4 or 5, and then I did that for a while, and then I was at Gina's Dance Academy as well. But then I sort of took a bit of a break from last summer, and then I think this has really kind of shown me a different style that I've never done before, but I really enjoy it. I love the way that Brie has put the moves into everything. And I mean, I don't do a lot of dancing in the show, to be honest, but our Hot Honey Rag dance at the end, I did find that very difficult at first. But
We're like on the floor after learning it.
Yeah, every time it's rehearsed.
Gets a bit frenetic.
Yeah, it's a lot, but it's good. It's
Yeah,
really
Very
good.
good.
Yeah. Does Sarah like to push you through the point where you'll run it through like 2-3 times, you're absolutely exhausted, and it's just one more time?
Oh, yes,
Oh, yeah.
That's
yes.
always a lie. It's
Yeah,
never just
she
one more
literally
time.
did that to me last night 5 times.
Yeah. This time through. No mistakes, and you can it'll be your last one.
I'm like, Sarah, you are lying through your teeth.
Yeah, she's been doing it for like 20 years.
professional.
Do you know, actually, just going back to the NODA nominations, DCU actually came away with 9 nominations, I think, wasn't it?
I believe it was something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I was looking at the full list today because I've covered it earlier in the introduction, and I noticed that I think there's 52 categories that come up in the NODA nominations, and there are Manx nominations in 14 categories.
That's brilliant.
It's very
isn't it?
impressive, isn't it?
Between Manx Up, Centre Stage, and DCU.
Yeah.
And there are, of those 14, there are 9 where all 3 societies have had a nomination.
Wow.
That's
So the
crazy.
chances of those awards coming back to the island are pretty good.
Pretty high,
yeah, we've got a good chance there.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have a similar amount of awards coming off the back of this.
Well, let's hope so.
And it's a busy year this year as well. There's a lot of shows coming up this
Yeah,
year.
There
There's
is,
a lot
yeah.
going on.
Yeah. So how did you girls get started then? Well, Evie, you just said that you've started with Christine's and then with Gina's Dance Academy. What brought you into the theatre, into sort of musical theatre side of things?
I've got to say it's definitely my auntie Jane Corkill, because
Oh,
obviously she's done that for a while as well. So I think I was more so kind of dragged into the world of theatre and then just adjusted my way into it. But
And Jane's a former DCU leading lady as well.
yes, she is indeed. She was a leading lady in Sound of Music, I believe.
Yes.
Yes, but I've always done singing lessons with her since I was quite young, and then Christine Sutcliffe, she is my singing teacher at the moment. When Jane stopped doing singing lessons, but I think I kind of got pushed into it from family, but then I've just absolutely loved it.
Yes. No looking back.
No, never.
Natalie, how about you? I mean, obviously the daughter of West End Tony.
Oh,
so.
well, yeah, that's my claim to fame. So, yeah, I did do a lot of dancing as a child, but not any singing, not any theatre, just loved drama. And then time went by and children came along, and I always thought, one day I'll have a little go and do a show. And that day just never really came. And then, Hunchback Choir was my first little dip in the toe in the water and got the bug. And
That's it. Never
can't
look
get
back.
rid of me now.
Jordan, how about you?
To be fair, I did dancing throughout my life since I was 2. And a few of the ballroom girls actually started doing shows when we were quite young. So I'd always used to kind of go watch them and sit in the audience. And my mum will always be like, oh, you can get up there. And I was absolutely no chance. You are not seeing me on stage ever. And then a girl in my year 6 class was like, oh, I'm going for this Bugsy Malone show.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, do you know what, actually, I'll go with you, not expecting anything. And that's how I got into my first show, Bugsy, because if you speak to Gary Chattle about me, he will genuinely bring up Bugsy Malone every single time to anyone, because I had like one line in that whole show.
Starring role.
Literally one line as like a waitress when I was about 10, and he messages me all the time. He's like, you're the best waitress I've ever had. Cheers, Gary, thank you.
So what's the favourite show that you've done over the years?
Oh, I want to say Grease, back in 2022, just because it was my first lead role.
Rizzo?
Yes, yeah, scary. It's my first lead role, so I have all of my it's like core memories, making memories, and it's when I really sort of got a big group of friends in theatre, because I'd been in and out of it for like quite a while, and then it was sort of how I got to know like Jack Divers, and Molly and I have like known each other for ages, but like Molly was in there, Meg was in there. It was just all different people,
Your Pink
different
Ladies
ages.
and your T-Birds.
Exactly,
And
yeah. It was just kind of like a whole summer of fun.
Yeah.
And then we got to all just hang out every day in October, so it was great. So
It's that cheesy adage, isn't it? It's the theatre family, isn't it?
Yeah.
Find your
yeah,
people.
yeah. And we were all like really sweaty and horrible with each other in rehearsal, so I think that bonds you a little bit.
Yeah,
It does.
definitely.
Natalie, Evie, obviously you have not quite such a broad range of shows to choose
No.
from, but what are your favourite shows, or the shows that you've seen at the Gaiety, rather?
Gosh, that's a tough question. I have to say, although I haven't done many, Hunchback will always be very special to me. What a great show to start with, although I didn't actually move and I was just sat there as a member of the choir watching it all happen down below. Yeah, brilliant show. Loved it. The music was spectacular.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. Obviously, my first experience in theatre. It was great.
I think mine, I'd probably have to go, even though I was just in the ensemble, was Singing in the Rain in 2019. It was Taylorian had
Yes.
that. I loved being a part of that. I think because they had the rain and they had like built over the rake and everything, it was just a fabulous show to be a part of. I really enjoyed it. And then other than that, I probably as a kid I really enjoyed being in Annie, even though I didn't do a lot in that, but I loved that show, even though I was only like 6.
Was that a junior production or was it?
It was, yes. I think that was the first show I ever did, Annie. And I think it was because my sister was going for it, so I kind of just wanted to come along with it.
Tag along.
Yeah, tag along and be with your big sister. Yeah, great. Oh, is there a bucket list role? Is there a role that that's on that list that you go, once I've done that, I'm happy?
Well,
You'll never be happy because there'll always be something else.
The last time you asked me that question, I said Velma. So.
Woo! Go on then. Aim high.
So, yeah, tick. I'm going to go Baby from Dirty Dancing because I would kill to be in that show. To be fair, I'd kill to be a floorboard in that show, but still.
Just better make sure we don't put you in the corner.
Well, yeah, nobody puts Baby in a corner.
How about you, Natalie?
Well, if I had the skills all time, what a role Dolores Van Cartier it would have to be.
Yeah.
What a role, what a show. Music is just off the scale. I don't have the skills to make that happen. But in an alternate universe, yeah, that'd be the one.
Yeah, Sister Act is a fantastic show.
Oh, amazing.
Definitely. I think for me, going back to Singing in the Rain, I really love Kathy Selden in that.
Yeah.
I think I just loved watching Laura Piggott play her when they had it on
Yes.
and mainly just because I want to do that really big tap routine that they have. That's just
Good morning.
fabulous. Yeah. And she played it amazing. I think I would just love to play that role. She's got some good songs and just the tap routine in itself. I'd happily just do that.
Yeah.
Call it a day.
It is a big iconic routine, isn't it?
Definitely.
With the whole step over the
Yeah.
sofa and all the coats and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's so
fantastic.
good.
Okay, this is a new question that we've brought in recently in one of the last sort of few episodes. You're allowed to take one prop or costume from any show that you've been in. What is it and why?
I'm going to go costume. So I absolutely adored my hand jive costume from Greece. Absolutely adored it. I was so sad to see it go.
Yeah.
Because it was like this halter neck, this red, like polka dot halter neck, and it was gorgeous. And then I'm actually going to say my All That Jazz costume from this, because I genuinely went out and bought myself one. So I don't have to say goodbye to it after the show. But because it fits and it's really comfortable, so I bought myself one at Christmas.
So you can just keep on playing it in your front room.
Basically, yeah, to kind of
Never ends.
stretch it out a little bit.
How about you, Natalie?
I think I'd go the top hat and cane from the tap routine in Young Frankenstein. First time tapping. It was an experience, and yeah, who doesn't want a top hat and cane? So I'd go with that.
That's fair enough.
Rude. Mine would probably be the boots in Kinky Boots. I got to come on in the finale in the boots.
Yes.
And
Nice.
I feel like I rocked them. So I would happily have a pair to wear out in Strand Street on the weekend.
Could you imagine?
Big knee-high boots.
There were some fantastic boots in that finale
There
number.
was.
Matt James, it was, yeah. I've dealt with Matt in high heels many times. It's
Common theme.
yes, yeah. Rocky Horror Show 2004. It was interesting.
Let's call it that.
Platformed heels on a rake. It's not
Wow.
easy as a man walking in those. I mean, it's not easy.
I was gonna
as
say,
a woman
it's
walking in
not.
those. Okay, so over the run of your rehearsals, there's probably been. I mean, you've got David Arts in the cast. There's probably going to be lots of interesting moments that maybe not have gone quite as intended. Is there anything that particularly springs to mind?
What, for this show?
Yeah,
Oh.
or any show really.
Not for this show in particular. I've got a couple from my past shows. Like in Greece when we finished, I think it was like end of Act 1 when we were all on the bleachers, and Ben Gale was supposed to like sort of pick me up and carry me off as a like a woohoo end of Act 1. And his knee went in the middle of the number, so I actually ended up having to carry him off stage. And it just kind of kept going through the run, so it just kind of kept being a running joke that I was just carrying him off stage. And then I want to throw an honourable mention to Jersey Boys when me and you were supposed to do the jive.
Yes.
And I just got into the wrong costume and didn't go on stage because I got into the wrong quick change.
Yeah, I'm still the wings going, where's Jordan?
Literally.
Where's Jordan?
Literally. And I'm hearing the music and I'm in the quick change area going, oh no.
Did you do a solo jive, Neil?
No, I just thought, well, there's no point going on.
No.
Let's just get changed for the next one.
Yeah.
Just crack on.
That's
It's
a fair
fine.
idea.
Don't worry about it. We'll get it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I actually don't have any experience so far of anything
Touch
going
wood.
wrong.
Touch wood.
Yeah, touching all the wood. I would say that Chicago does involve stairs, which is putting the fear of
Dangerous.
gold into
Statement.
me.
Dangerous.
So,
Stairs
yeah.
are always fun.
Ask me that question again in a couple of months and I might have something to tell you. Hopefully not.
Just while we're talking about stairs, Jesus Christ Superstar 2015, I think it was. So myself, Nick Kane, David Lyons and Neil Crow were the sort of the four priests behind Caiaphas. And we had these ridiculous hats that were about 3 feet tall. And we had to stand with our arms folded and walk around like this the whole time. But then your arms are folded in front of you and you're going downstairs. You can't move your head forward because these hats are so big they feel like they're going to fall off. And you can't see where the steps are underneath your arms.
Oh, see, that stresses me out.
No,
At
yeah,
some
I don't like
point-
the sound of that.
All four of us nearly came a cropper down those stairs.
Dominoes.
Very cool.
Evie, how about you?
I've got to go with that. It was quite a while ago, but when I was in Shrek, when I was about 8 or 9, and I played Baby Bear, and when I got my bow at the end, my prosthetic nose fell off
No, it did not.
and went
That
into
is
the
a good
pit.
one.
Oh,
Oh, I've had nightmares about that before.
Yeah, it wasn't a good one. I went and did As I Bowed Down.
Oh, no.
The Baby Bear nose came off, and I think because I was so young, I was terrified, so I cried and ran off.
Bless you.
An honourable mention to Evita when I had my bow and no one clapped because no one realised it was the bows. That was a good one.
Awkward.
Because it was the end of the show, and then I just randomly appear at the side of the stage and they
Yeah.
put like a light on me, so
Silent
no one
bow,
knows
isn't
it's.
it? Yeah.
But I don't bow. I just had to stand there because we weren't allowed to bow. So then everyone just kind of stared at me, and then I was like, oh,
That's so awkward.
"That's humbling."
Oh, Evie.
Really
So
brought me down
humbling.
to earth for a minute there.
Let's hope that doesn't happen in this show.
Let's hope not.
Jesus Christ Superstar, there were actually no bows at the end of the show, just because the way the show ends, it didn't really feel right then to everyone come back and go, hey, thank you very much, big bows. And like the guys that were the priests, we were done like 10 minutes before the end of the show. Like our last scene was then, and we were tidied up, finished, and next door having a pint
nice.
before the show
That's
finished.
great.
I love
For
that.
the
It was
audience.
great.
Yeah.
Right, so here's an interesting one. It's the gender swap question. So if you could play any part of the opposite gender, what would it be and why?
I'm going to keep what I said last time and Jack Kelly from Newsies.
Yes,
Yeah.
excellent. I remember that.
Nice.
name.
Just because I am obsessed with Jeremy Jordan anyway. But I just think that character in itself is so good. So,
Okay.
Oh, I'm going to go with Elder Cunningham from Book of Mormon.
Oh, great
I
choice.
love
Good
Book of
choice.
Mormon, and I just think it's such a funny character and
Yes.
the humour, and yeah, I'd have to go with that.
I think mine would be JD from Heathers.
nice.
Purely just because of the songs. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, right. So Spotify playlist. So way back in 2020, which seems so long ago now, just after the first big lockdown, we came back and we set up our Spotify playlist. And this is our ultimate playlist, our ultimate musical theatre playlist. And every person that's come onto the podcast since then has added a new song onto the playlist.
Nice.
Now, these songs are songs that are the songs that we've sung. They're songs from shows that we've been in, or they're songs that mean something very special to us. In my list, I've got Seasons of Love because a group of friends sang it at our wedding. So
That's
great,
nice.
yeah. So Neil King and I, when we first set up, we each put 10 songs in to get it going because a playlist with 2 songs is very quick and short. So we've now up to, let's have a quick look at the list. It's 100 and, well, with your 3 songs, we'll be at 110.
Oh, wow.
Woo.
That's a decent playlist.
It's about 7.5 hours of,
wow.
of
Oh,
music
gosh.
in there. So what song would you like to add and why? Let's go to Evie first.
Very classic because we're doing Chicago, but I think I just owe it to her that I want to add the song Roxy from Chicago.
And that's obviously because it's your big number.
It is my big number, and love how entitled she is and how much she absolutely loves herself and
Yes.
has not a care in the world about anybody else. And I love it performing that way. I think
And
it's
she
really
sings it
fun.
beautifully.
Yeah,
Yes,
she
yes,
does.
she does, yes.
She smashes it.
Okay, Natalie, what about you?
Okay, so this one's maybe a little bit niche, and I hope it's not already on there, but mine would be On Tracks from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Like I say, it was my first show, first time singing, first time really doing much choral singing, and to say that that piece was intimidating and overwhelming would be a huge understatement. I think all the choir found it challenging. But shout out to Steve Dakin for making the music happen. When we got it, when we cracked it, I think, sounded beautiful.
Oh,
and
it
I think
did.
it's such an amazing piece of music. So,
Being sat in the audience and just that wall of noise
Oh,
that came
yeah.
out was
yeah,
amazing.
it felt great to get it. So that's the one for me, please.
Fantastic. Jordan, second entry onto the list.
Yeah, second entry, Sincerely Me from Dear Evan Hansen, please.
Awesome.
Because, so I used to give Ben Gale a lift back from rehearsals because he used to live near where my mum lives, and we figured out that Sincerely Me was roughly the same time as the whole journey took back to the house from rehearsals. So we absolutely had that song nailed down 3 times a week driving back. So yeah, it means good amount.
Brilliant, fantastic. Right, so Chicago runs at the Gaiety Theatre from Friday the 7th to Saturday the 15th of February. There are 2 shows, a matinee and an evening show on Saturday the 8th. There is no show on the Sunday.
Nope.
So you're all getting a day off.
Yay!
Nice. And then there are 2 shows again, a matinee and an evening show on Saturday the 15th. And the matinee, I believe, is a captioned performance as well.
Yeah.
Yes, one of the
I
matinees.
think so.
Yes.
Go with that.
So, if you haven't got your tickets yet, what are you doing? Get onto it. Get to villagaiety.com or call 600 555. Ladies, I wish you and everyone involved for Chicago all the very, very best of the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll catch up with you again soon.
Thank
Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Bye.
You're listening to the Manx Theatre Podcast with Neil Callan.
Well, we were having so much fun with that chat that we forgot to mention everyone that we needed to. The show is being directed by David Dawson, who was ably assisted by Sarah Holland as assistant director. The choreographer, as we did mention, was Brisha Krukal, and the musical director is the wonderful Liz Dixon. In the principal cast, as we've just said, we have Evie Skillicorn as Roxy Hart, Jordan McCormack as Velma Kelly, Natalie Smith as matron Mama Morton. David Artis is playing the smooth-talking lawyer Billy Flynn, and David Britton is playing my favourite role, Amos Hart. There are also some cameos from Jonathan Slight as Mary Sunshine and Sean Reaney as Fred Casely. The Merry Murderesses of the famous Selbach Tango are made up of Alice Smith as Liz, Ella Gould as Annie, Bryony Grant as June, Ellie Quayle as Hunyak, and Eve Pazar as Mona, along with Jordan's Velma. The rest of the small roles and narration is provided by the remaining cast members. Chicago opens this Friday, 7th of February at the Gaiety Theatre. Make sure to get your tickets from villagaiety.com or by calling 600 555. In the next episode, I'll be chatting to a few of the cast from the Manx Operatic Society's production of Everybody's Talking About Jamie. Well, with that, we bring episode 64 to a close, and we wish everyone involved with the DCU Chicago all the very best for opening night. Don't forget to check out the Spotify playlist by searching for Manx Theatre Podcast. There's 110 tracks on there now, and over 7.5 hours of show tunes to satisfy your musical theatre needs. If you have any events that you'd like to talk about or promote on a future episode, you can contact me through the social media accounts or by email to manxtheatrepodcast@gmail.com. All that remains is to say thanks for listening, and I hope you join me again next time. I've been Neil Callan, and you've been listening to the Manx Theatre Podcast. Goodbye.
The Manx Theatre Podcast, taking a look behind the scenes of Manx Theatre.
And happier than actors alive for me.